Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're back again and we're live and loud. We are here to go through the reaction and the breakdown to the further details we've had from the Sorare 26 gameplay update. Fist bump to all on arrival. Thanks to everyone that's tuning in and joining us. We've got a lot of meat on the bones today. So we had the actual blog announcement go out. I think it must have been about half an hour after the deadline show had finished. And then Laird's show ended up being delayed by a little bit, which kind of had a wee domino effect to myself. Once I'm finished with the show today, I will be live on Satara here to talk Nicholas Kuhn. I see there's some chat in there about him going to Como and whatever. So if you want to keep hanging out, Satara here on YouTube, all one word, you can't miss it. We'll be live there. I'm aiming for 7. It may be a little bit delayed because of what we've got going on here. But the most important thing for this show today, guys, is you guys in the live chat. I want to see comments. I want to see feedback. I want to see takeaways, thoughts, impressions, anything you're not too sure about or whatever, and we'll get stuck into the meat and bones of it all. Fist bumps on arrival, smash the like button, and all that good stuff. Quinny, can you please briefly explain what's happening with Contender, Premiership, Bundesliga, etc.? Now, I think maybe the best way of doing that is to go and... I had the page open, but I've just reopened the old one by mistake. I'm pretty sure. Sorry. Just give me 2 wee seconds, and I'll probably better go on to Twitter to find it. But Scotland and Austria are being promoted to fill the void of Eredivisie and Jupiler going to get their own competition. So that's primary one. What we've heard as well from the blog and from the explanation with Momo when he was on with Laird is that, oh no, sorry, that's the wrong post. 2 seconds. Is that anything else dregs wise is going into Contender. So if you have like championship players, the English championship this is, or anything else kind of wacky and wonderful like that, if someone moves to China and they're in season, or whatever, they go to Italy and they're in season, they're in Contender. So there we go. I've got the proper big one up here now. So there we go. I'll just pop this on screen to answer Boyson's point off the top, and then we'll kind of go through it from there. So yeah, this is what's happening. I'm guessing when you say Premiership, you mean Scottish Premiership. But yeah, we're moving into Challenger now with the 3 Portuguese teams, the 4 Turkish teams, the 5... There's a 5, I don't know, maybe 3 Danish teams. Do you know, this, as we're talking about it now, is there good reason to suspect that these competitions, Denmark, Portugal, and Turkey, will get a bigger allotment? Because we're again just getting right into the deep end here, I suppose, but they have confirmed that there's no Serie A, like none at all. So we won't be getting Lazio, we won't be getting AC Milan, we won't be getting Napoli, and if you care about Monzas and Veronas and Fiorentinas and whatever, fine, but we won't be getting any of that. So that's a loss of availability in the champion region in terms of like cards that they can sell. Do they see a gap in the market where they could squeeze some more challenger cards out? I'm not too sure, but this is kind of... Austria and Scotland are full leagues. Portugal, we've got the top 3. Turkey, it's like the top 4 or 5. Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas, Trabzonspor, Istanbul, Başakşehir, maybe. But that's like it. In Denmark, we have Nordisland, we have Brøndby, we have somebody else. Who was the first Danish team? Midtjylland. Of course, how could I forget? So yeah, that's what's up with that. Let's go. Honest reaction. Not bad, not amazing. Somewhere in between. Best classic cards, including Celtic, have gained value, in my opinion, especially with how good the hot streaks are for in the in-season. I would agree with that. I think the in-season update that we've had here is pretty sexy. I'm not going to lie. I think this is what we've got is just on the menu for hot streaks across the week, across the season, for Premier League, Liga and McDonald's. And, I laughed so hard when I read this on the blog announcement because the amount of chat that's been on this channel, Laird's chat, everywhere over the last couple of years is get them to get a sponsor and call it the McDonald's Cup or, whatever. It's always McDonald's. It's been the example company, hasn't it? And they've kind of got their way in here through the back door, McDonald's, that is. So this is for the 4 Champion League specific ones. And this is pretty tasty. This is pretty chunky. Now, for rare, there is an extra multiplier on your rare cards. So I don't think it's quite as egregious or quite as tall of a mountain to climb as it looks in comparison to limited. There is an extra scarcity multiplier that the rare cards get, and I think that's going to be the thing that kind of ekes that out. And then this is what we get across the rest of the competitions here. So it pays to be in champion. There's no two ways about it. I think there's maybe a bit of the champion in season prize pool that's maybe been siphoned across to make this a really viable and really attractive proposition, which is cool. But then for the best of the rest, or for everyone else, we've got. Wonder why MLS isn't actually here. I wonder if it's just keeping its current structure until next season, perhaps, in terms of how the streaks work. I know they're going to add in the classic availability to hot streaks for MLS, but I don't, because they're not denoted here, I don't suspect that they are included in this revamped change, as it were. So yeah, this is really exciting. I think for anyone, like I said it in one of the videos I did recently when I was talking about how there was actually a lot of positives in the previous announcements. It just kind of got lost in the soup with the unique stuff and whatever else that was kind of going on at the time. But if you're a Belgian stacker, a Dutch player, this is hot. This is hot. Hot streaks, bringing sexy back. Challenger and contender getting action into this is also a lot of fun as well. But for the initial period of the season until September 26 to 30, they go double. They go double, which is crazy good. And I think as well, we see, is it on this page? Yeah. They also do an additional promo on that where they make the first two steps for the first couple of weeks even easier. So a bit of cash back. This is what this feels like for anyone buying in-season cards in that early phase, if you can get a team together and get hitting some scores. So the availability of having a classic smasher in here just makes all of this, like, you can actually think about getting to the tippy top of the mountain. If you were to get to this fourth step or the third step, depending on what your in-season allotment is, getting a classic guy to bridge that gap. Like if your best classic card is, I don't know, let's just say Lewandowski, racking in 70s on the regular for Barca, and you know you're getting to step 4, you've hit step 4 or step 3 or whatever, that might be the thing that pushes you to getting a classic Ousmane Dembele or something like that would make the difference. It would bring up that points tally from where you normally hit to bridge that gap. And if you've been collecting cash along the way, especially when you get to the third step, you know, that $400, I suspect a fair amount of times, a fair amount of occasions, that will be reinvested to try and get someone on to the 1600 the next time around. So overall, yeah, I think I know what you're saying here, David, like not bad, not amazing, but if you're to put me on the gauge, I'm definitely more on the positive side than the negative. I'm not too sure there's many negative issues here. Good to see you all. I'll try and keep up to speed with all the comments. It's basically contender A and contender B. Yeah, I think that's quite a good way of putting it, Jim. Italian in-season and challenger, Italian classic and champ. Thanks very much, Graham, for the comment. Just helps put that on screen visually for anyone joining us. You have Celtic. That's yeah, it might just be Celtic, by the way, running the roost. All I want to know after the update, are my J League keepers worth very significant? No, classic's dead. Hilarious. The third streak is huge, and that was one thing I wanted to try and do, was try and compare and contrast. Not necessarily the streaks. I didn't think about that, so we'll maybe do that in a moment. But what the prize pools looked like in years gone by. So if we have a look at the streak at the moment. Yeah, I can't really see the page where you get to open up all the streaks, but yeah, it is chunkier. I know that third one feels a lot heavier, which is a great little innovation. Was hoping for Braga, Guimarães AGF. Yeah, I think there's a really strong reason to speculate that we will be getting, because look, again, when I seen this as well, like this is when the early access is launch. You know, I suppose Turkey and Portugal being together like that, it would be hard to imagine. I suppose Croatia's a full league, Bundesliga 2 and League 2, they're not full leagues, are they? They're bits and bobs. Denmark is its own day as well. So yeah, interesting to think about in that regard. But yeah, that's a full in-season complement, as it were. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Excellent. Best League and Classic heading into in-season? Yeah, I think so. Seems more like an esport brand. Yeah, I think you're right there. Does anyone know where we can use? Yeah, it's like it's like the 25th of July or something that comes in. Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, Rico man, great take. By the way, because yeah, you'll be playing in season in the contender region throughout this time already with the RGs, the A, the J, and the K. Do we have in season Mexico? I'm pretty sure we do. So yeah, that'll actually be pretty juicy for those guys that have been in the non-European sphere. Nice wee Brucey bonus for them to get a handle of. Yeah, 25th of July. Oh no, 19th. Rico man, thank you. I think the whole essence lark is absolute smoke and mirrors, and it's still shite. The 100 essence wins are equivalent of winning 2 essence on the old model, being 1 of 10 the cost of a card. So yeah, so that was one thing. I had a call with them on Tuesday. They didn't tell me like really anything that was in this. It was more just kind of they told me about the 3 goals conceded thing, and they kind of yeah, I'm trying to even remember what we spoke about. They didn't really tell me anything, and they kind of said at the beginning of the call, we won't be telling you anything sensitive. So like, I can't even remember what the hell they told me. But yeah, I remember talking about the Matrix for a bit and a few other bits and bobs. But one thing they did tell me, they did tell me the essence changes. So what they told me was that the scale of essence is essentially going up by about 10x. But what they're going to do for everyone who's holding their balance, and they state this in here, is they're going to when they readdress everyone's balance, they're doing it by 20x. So that's like a Brucey bonus for anyone that's been holding. But the actual scale that they've worked on is like a 10x kind of situation. I kind of get the fact that when they change the scale like that, it is really hard to quantify. Is it a gain or a loss? Is it harder? Is it easier? I'm with you on that. But yeah, like you can see here, it's the same as the 2 essence when they're just scaling everything up. But one of the main reasons for the scale up is so that when you get your ceiling bonus, you don't get fractions of, you don't get 8.7 essence one, you'll get 87 essence one kind of thing. So that's the main agenda for it. And like I say, everyone who's holding essence, you get a Brucey bonus for that in terms of the new scale and the adjustment that'll be made on your balance. I liked that they dropped All Star to one. Like yeah, I like that too. Classic Smashers for the major boost. Yeah, no two ways about it. And another thing I'll say on that is the biggest thing that's for me. Like I think like you're right, David, and I'm definitely on the same page as you here. Don't get me wrong, but the biggest change is the where the hell is it? It's down here somewhere. This, right? I know everyone's talking about in season when it comes to this, right? But this looks to be a rule change to collection scoring across all scarcities. This isn't an in season only development. This is a collection development. If you're buying classic cards now, like I just did, we just had a bit of a video on the channel talking about buys I've been making and all the rest of it. Just need to change the magnification for a second. But I forced myself to buy 5 Antlers cards so I would get it to 100 points and get the 10% bonus, the 2% bonus when they get their extra 10 points for 90 days. Now, I wouldn't need 5, I would only need 4 to do that, and you would achieve it much, much quicker. So I think that is a big one as well, because if you are going to, like, even if you're just to get 2 guys, or one guy would still not be enough. 2 guys would be still the minimum to get to the 1% mark. But if you are trying to clamor a guy in to get the extra points up or whatever, or maybe not for the clamor, because 30 days, you're not really going to clamor 30 days in advance, but I think you get the point. Getting into old versions of cards to get to 1, 2, maybe even 3% is way more viable now than ever before. So you don't need to buy in-season rigs. You don't need to buy in-season collections to get that first owner bonus, etc. If you are looking to get a good kind of little bonus on your defense stack on the club you follow or whatever. So I think, yeah, agreed. I think Classic has got a lot of love in this where possible. We'll look at the prize pool shortly. I compared from Prem, love it, Charlie. D1 last season, it was 16k. It's now 11k. But you have got ceiling bonus and hot streaks on top of that. So yeah, I just thought that these numbers, if we look at them, I know you're saying it's down there overall. 2 seconds, I'll go and find the blog link for the prize pool detail. But it felt to me, I wanted to go and compare it, or we've got an example here anyway without going into the full blog, don't we? But it did feel to me that some of these were a bit punchier at the top. You know, Premier League in season rare, 4Gs at the top. I know it's dollars. That feels bigger than last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. 7 teams between the two feels right to me. I wouldn't mind a bit of Greek coverage. Sweden wouldn't be too bad either, but I think that's way down the shopping list, isn't it? I genuinely don't think we are going to be able to see the effectiveness of the prize pools until we're well underway. Yeah, I think you're right there too. It's not impressed. Okay, fair enough. I think it looks really good. I like the fact we're winning 2 things. We're just winning XP is a bit of a kick in the balls. Winning cash and essence at the top end is always fun as well. And like I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest with you. I thought they said this doesn't apply to MLS. Yeah, none of this applies to MLS except for they will be allowed a classic entry. And also, yeah, it's not the essence tier isn't tier 5 plus. It could be anything on your one pool. Like there's much more of a chance. I think they said we've got the odds down here, but a standard pool is 75%. It's more often than not what you're going to be getting. 10% chance of a star, more than likely tier 5s and 4s. And then in the other ones, which you get you've got a 1 in 4 chance of not being in the standard one. And as soon as you come out of the standard one, like tier 4s and 5s disappear essentially. There's still a wee bit of them might be in here. Aim for the star. Like they might have a star in there, but there's some crap in amongst it. There'll be a lot of heartbreak content, I think, that will be made, because they also reveal here that you will see all the cards you didn't select, what they were, which will be fun. Nice. Jalkin Calvez, love that. Do you think they planned all of this to be like this, or they changed a bit when they saw it? Yeah, I don't think there's too many community reaction iterations in this at all. To be quite honest with you, I think most of this was probably the way it was, but they were waiting for Ligue 1 to sign off. And I suspected, because there's, like they spoke about with Laird, and I think they mentioned it in here, there's 9 hot streaks available. And I think in the video I did, I hypothesized that there would be 9 or 10. I expected there to be like a Danish league or something else random. Maybe Scotland would have got it or whatever. But I thought they'll get they'll get one more Champ League and they'll get one more other league to go alongside Belgium and Holland. But it didn't quite work out like that. But there was 9 hot streak potentials there. Classic Ipswich players are in contender now. So let me see. What are you winning in contender? It's like JK, Argentina. I should probably just have some tabs lined up, shouldn't I, with all these graphics that I want to use rather than scrolling around the place. Where are we? That's in season. Yeah, so contender is where your Ipswich boys are going to land now. So no La Liga Smart Bank mentioned here either in terms of a license agreement or whatever. So interesting kind of little only issue with the new essence is even 20x. You need to have 50 now to get a craft in the new system. Yeah, fair. D3 get nerfed a lot. Yeah, let's look. I'm trying to find the blog link. We just had that one Premier League example there. And yeah, we'll have a look at the prize pools in a bit more detail. I do feel there's more. I don't mind it, guys, to be honest with you. Like, see D1 being the flagship, of all of these competitions, Premier League, whatever. I really don't mind that. I want D1 to be hot. I want D1 to be heavy. I want it to be the place to be. If you can win in D3 and in D2, that's obviously fantastic. But where the hell is this Essence blog? But I don't think it's a bad nerf to. Oh, there we go. There we go. I don't think it's a terrible nerf. What will we look at is the example where we look at. I don't think there's no champ anymore, is there? Is Premier League much bigger than Bundesliga and stuff? That's 4K at the top, 8K, 800 in D2, 300 in D3. Yeah, Prem above. Yeah, Prem above La Liga. La Liga and Bunde on par. Yeah, so Prem is held above all else again. Eredivisie is behind the other champ teams, and it's on par. Yeah, it's on par, I suspect, with the Belgians. No, Belgium's actually lower. Interesting. So D1 Eredivisie is 2K, D2 is 400, and D3 is 150. And yeah, 1500, 300, 100. So yeah, Belgium in the mud. Top it, yeah. But I say if you're in D1, man, you want to be swinging for the fences. You know, I was in D1 quite a lot, and especially in some of the quieter game weeks, we did finish in a good spot. Like, I didn't get any mad money wins, and I kind of felt like D1 it's better, right? But it's harder too. And I don't know. Looking at Challenger here, like the podium is sexy. Outside of the top 10, I don't think it's really that much better, but it is a lot of Essence payouts to balance off against it. Chat is absolutely flying away, guys. I'll try my best to keep up with you. So, like most of the updates, but I'm crafting. But crafting, I'm not quite sold on. I think crafting will be way better. And I think like the MLS example is a tainted example because MLS is far more volatile on the pitch, like on the actual football pitch. MLS is the heart. Like, you know, if you were to line up every Sorare fixture and not even do the score prediction, but just do win, loss, and draw, MLS is the one you would get the worst result on 9 times out of 10, I think. Yeah, hot streaking to the old Challenger. Well, Challenger before, you know, what about the new Challenger? It's 2000 at the top, 400 and 150. 2,400, 150. It's ahead of Belgium. It's actually the same as Eredivisie. That's quite a wild parallel, isn't it? There's maybe some detail differences I'm missing here, like where the top 40 get paid out to or whatever, but no, it's maybe even actually virtually the exact same. So that's quite interesting how they expect Eredivisie to be kind of above and beyond. Must be on some data they've got. Yeah, strategizing will be a lot more fun. Did I miss something, or is this an amazing update? Yeah, I think it's quite good, man. I'm not upset with anything. And yeah, Eredivisie is jacked, by the way. I think points per pound, Eredivisie is the place to be, by the way, on analysis of this, because like they're not going to be cheap, right? Because it's going to be a league-specific competition. All the Dutch boys are going to get into it, as you know. All the hustlers in the platform are probably going to notice this as well and be into it. But like, you know, Ajax, Feyenoord, PSV will probably dominate it. But as we've seen in Holland, like, you know, like some of these other teams can spash, you know, they can do none too bad. They're very hard to forecast preseason. You kind of need to get the ball rolling to know that Go Ahead Eagles or Sparta Rotterdam or take your pick of teams over the years, Heerenveen or whatever, are the underdog team to back this year. You kind of need to wait for some results to come your way before you can work that out. But all the same, like buying any of those stacks, you know, Sparta Rotterdam, Twente. Well, maybe Twente are a bit too big for this example, but Sparta Rotterdam, Go Ahead Eagles, these types of teams is way more exciting than buying Mechelen. Although Belgium's a bit more, like you do expect Bruges to hammer everyone most of the time, right? But Anderlecht are normally good, but not great. USG are pretty solid, aren't they? But the league is there's a bit more parity in Belgium, I think, compared to Holland. And, you know, the difference is 25%. Pegs wall to the moon. But yeah, I think like Eredivisie is maybe the sneaky, like the winner of this, by the way. So there's still no challenger or contender comps in Classic, just under 23 All Star and Champ, correct. But you can put your Classic Smashers in there. Yes, exactly. Agent Cooper. I think some of these are chatting to each other. NEC, yeah. There's always a team like that, isn't there? That's got like 3 or 4 guys that can be good in defense, a guy that can get 15 plus decisives a year, and whatever else. You guys are kind of chatting amongst yourself. It's kind of throwing me off a wee bit to the sides, but that's fine. So yeah, I think overall this is like there's a lot to get into here. If you listen to Laird and Momo already, you've heard Sorare's kind of POV on why these things were made, the changes that were done. I quite like the league specific element they're going down. If we can talk about it from a Sorare point of view in terms of the business, I think that's one of the things that Sorare would be very smart to capitalize upon or to try and lean into, is to be the fantasy football vendor of choice for these leagues. I think Belgium and Holland, from what I gather from accounts like QTN and a few other ones, Sorare's quite well accepted in those leagues already as like a viable fantasy football game. Premier League, not as much. And I think Bundesliga and La Liga, and I think France has actually got quite a prominent domestic product themselves. And I think like MLS should be one that they're really trying to push in this regard. Guys, please smash the like button if you're here. It means a lot to me, helps the channel grow and all that good stuff. But I think that's a really smart strategy for them to do. Like, I remember when Celtic first joined the platform, that was what I was really trying to push, was like, this is the best fantasy football game for Celtic fans because we can beat Ajax, we can beat Bayern Munich, we can show how good Celtic are on the world stage, an even playing field, a level playing field kind of thing. And I don't mind this kind of progressive evolution as long as we still maintain some sort of regional ability as well for the budget teams, the ones that don't get that treatment. Should I sell the remainder of my challenger players as championship is now contender? I think Clubsy, I would need to look at your gallery again a little bit more because that's a members content follow on, and my brain has just went blank, to be honest with you. But I'll need to pick that up with you later on, mate. I'm sorry. I don't want to say something now and you do something and then it's like, oh crap, I didn't mean that. Or a championship is not contender. Championship is contender. If you get in-season cards, if there's any in-seasons that become available, they will be available in contender. Challenger is the only one that is like this, where the 5 leagues available. Contender is everything else. So if someone transfers from the Premier League, that gets an in-season card into the Championship on loan or whatever, then they play contender. The classic ones all go into All-Star. Perisic, oh yeah, it could be wild. Don't know if he'll play all the time, just because of his age and stuff, but I'm sure he'll be pretty good to go. I'm trying to think what else. It was nothing I really read in this that I thought was a bad move or was confusing. I think we maybe wanted a wee bit more detail on arena prize pools. I'm not sure we got any of that in here. It is just, I think arena is going to be a lot more ad hoc, but like they've mentioned, around special events and with crafting as well, they'll do special promotions and stuff like that. And I think that's one thing Sorare have always been quite handy at. This is the classic prize pools here. So this is for classic rare all-star. We've got 3 divisions to compete in: the Royal Rumble, the hardcore mode that is the All-Star Rare. So everything will be in here except for champion and under 23. You would suspect there might be some Serie A guys, or there might be some odd champion guys, but very, very little. I like we'll chat about that as well. I actually don't like that, to be honest with you. Liga and La Liga teams go into champion. One thing I did get clarified, didn't collection bonuses are still in place even if you vault someone. Oh, nice, that's good. So if you vault someone, it doesn't take away from collection score. That's lovely. But there's 20 stars in D1, and that was the one thing I said on the last announcement breakdown we done, where I know from the last move that they did into in-season classic that we had in the 25-26 season, the 24-25 season, was that they wanted the prize pools to be condensed. They wanted it all just to be in the one place. There's no fucking about. There's no like, oh, there's 5 stars here, 5 stars there, 3 there, 2 there, 1 there, 1 there. There's 100 quid there, 200 quid there, all scattered around the place. They wanted it to be, oh, look at all these stars, look at all this money on top of each other. And 20 stars is pretty chunky. We did speak about this, I think, with Harry as well, where it could, I expected it to look more like the old school All-Star Rare Pro D4, D3, where we got like 20 star payouts, 36 star payouts on the big weekends. And we're pretty much back to that. 1 star in D3 is kind of nice, to be honest with you, because if you're in D3, winning it means something, which is lovely. And yeah, I quite like it, to be honest with you. It is going to be super difficult. Top 1000 in D1 get Essence, top 1000 in D2, top 1000 in D3. So Essence will be coming at ease on the regular. It is going to be massive. It is going to be like 10. Everyone gets 4 entries as well. It's going to be giganormous. It is going to be hardcore Royal Rumble. Here's under 23. I'll look at limited for this one since I looked at rare for the last one, but it's essentially the same sort of scope, but slightly different. 5 stars in D1, no star in D3. Interesting. And here's Champ Classic. Stars in the top 8. I think Rico Man put something really good in the chat talking about how many stars they were giving out every weekend. It's like 117 stars or something like that. So a lot to come out in terms of the card rewards and stuff, which is excellent. Pardon me. I've not really looked at the super rare and the classic and the unique stuff because I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. I'm kind of past it now at this point. Yeah. And I think there's been a real focus on the top managers winning big. And I think you can kind of see that. My only concern is for classic, certainly, it's just what we've said there. How many teams will be in there? And I think Arena Essence is going to be a moving target. So there might be some arenas where, I don't know, like it's 20 Arena Essence entry. Maybe it's like a Cap 240 mode or something like that, or Argentinian League or some sort of special thing around it. And then they'll use examples in the blog. So I'm kind of pulling it from that as well. But it might be like, because they mentioned 2 permanent arenas in here. Control F arena. Permanent arena, yeah. So we get 2 permanent arenas guaranteed into this one. We get arena capped 260 and we get arena uncapped. These both take, this takes 100 and 250. I think we'll get other ones that will be like 20, 40, 80, 5 even. You know, I think there will be some ones will have worse prize pools associated with them as well, maybe tougher restrictions or whatever. But I think they've said already there'll be plenty of arenas available, different themes and styles. And there'll be no more special weeklies as a result. So the only kind of special weekly remnant that we're going to have is like European nights and that sort of thing that they do for any Champions League stuff midweek or whatever. I think that's the gang back. So if you hear the the giraffes and the zebras and all that running into the house, you've been forewarned. But yeah, I think these are the 2 permanent arenas. But I think like on any given game week, there could be like 10 arenas available in terms of different categories, different choices, different prize pool split available or whatever. Specials are still. Oh, sorry, I must have misunderstood what Momo said. Then apologies, Charlie. Good catch on that. I thought they kind of mentioned that arena was going to be the not the replacement for special weeklies, but fill that space where it's, you know, like special reason to do something, so they do it there. But maybe I've misunderstood. Thanks for the catch, Charlie. Are you selling your supers then, Quinny? I'm actually rather on the fence. I love my super rares. Like I still do, despite how shit they were last year. Like even forget it, forget so rare. Like all these guys were shit last year at football, you know, like so maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, you know. But and that's a lot. I often say this. I've got like the best guys have been like tier 1s at best, and most of my guys are like tier 2-ish. And also I've got a lot of fodder that goes in and around behind it also. So I'm really torn because I don't actually hate any of the cards or any of the players. I actually love all of the players and stuff like that. And even guys like Tierney moving to Celtic, I can use that quite comfortably, I think, with some of the bits and bobs that might happen with my gallery in the transfer window, relegations and stuff like that as well. So I don't know. If I got like a nice offer for the whole set, I don't think I would list them. But yeah, maybe even just kick some doors and just say to people, "I'm selling. What would you give me for all of them?" And I would maybe consider it. Are they going to fix tiers now? That is something that I think this all-star move. Somebody was mentioning earlier how the essence change is like they don't like it because it's like the 100 is like 2 or whatever. But I do think that we look at Classic again, sorry. I think this is the ultimate way to fix the pools, because the way it works at the moment, and I mentioned this actually in another blog thing, that it should fix the pools, because the way the pools work is they've just got every player ranked by mainly price, but I think some other factors do come into it, but mainly price. And they just divide it at certain percentage marks. Like the stars are the top 2%, and then tier ones are the remaining top 10%, so on and so forth. And that gets really muddy, and it gets like has errors and problems all across it. When you're trying to do that for a smaller cohort of players, if you're trying to do that for the Prem only, if you're trying to do that in contender, where like really against the top list of players, like where does the top guys actually start and stop in contender, and where does the lower tier so what I'm trying to babble on here, right, is let's say the stars are meant to be the top 2%, tier ones are meant to be the remaining top 10%, tier 2 would be 10 to 25, tier 3 would be 25 to 40, tier 4 would be 40 to 70, and then tier 5 would be the bottom 30%. Let's imagine that's what it was meant to be. If you do that in the J League, once you get past the top 30%, or past the tier ones, essentially, they're all. I know there's a different caliber between a tier 5 and a tier 2 or 3, even in that setting, but it's not that wide compared to in the Premier League, where it's maybe a bit clearer. There's more quality players, there's better viable options, there's better players to populate those pools and be commensurate with the reward associated with the position on the table. Whereas when you go into all-star mode, like if you're getting into the top 2% of every player on the platform, goalkeepers aside, ACL injuries aside, you really should be happy with stars. There really shouldn't be any issue with them again going forward. And then as a trickle-down effect, it's just down to tier 2. That's all they really need to look after, is who gets into that tier 2 realm, and just making sure there's no bums and cruds in there, DNP merchants or whatever. Just have to eliminate that from the thinking. Because then, if they're only fixing the top, what would we call this, 30-40% of the pool, the star tier 1 and tier 2 having to be clearly defined, because they know people are going to win them. And if they win DNP merchants or guys that have never kicked a ball in their life, they'll be upset. It then means when you go into the craft mode, those categories of players, you've already done the legwork for them. You can make sure that the good pools have actual stars in them. But who gives a fuck who a tier 5, 4, or 3 is now anymore? Really doesn't matter. It only matters who's in tier 2 and above. So I think that's a great way of fixing the pools, because rather than making sure, this guy was in tier 4, he should be a tier 5, like that's not something they're going to fix or care about fixing particularly. But a guy that's like a tier 3 or 4 getting into tier 2, yeah, that's something we want to stamp out. Yeah, glad I saved my. Yes, I'm glad I saved my essence as well. By the way, I was I was pretty bummed out a week or two ago, and I was so close to just pulling the essence just to make myself feel better, just to get some card rewards or just have a bit of banter. And I didn't do it. Thankfully, I'm so glad. So we can win champ players in All Star Classic. Yep, in All Star you can win anything. Under 23, you can win anyone that is under 23. In champ, you can obviously exclusively win champ, but All Star is anything goes. You can win anyone in there. And you might be thinking, that's a bit weird. Why would they do that when it's going to be PSV and Celtic stacks and MLS cards or whatever smashing an All-Star? Because what they now have with All-Star is the perfect vehicle to take you into any in-season competition, whether you planned to or wanted to or not. If you have no interest in contender, but you win 2 in-season cards, you can use a classic, which you might even have lying around your gallery anyway. A guy that's left Bayern Munich, a guy that's left this club or that club and went to Bundesliga 2 or, whatever. You then only need to acquire 2 more in-seasons and you're streaking. So I think it's quite a smart move. I don't know if it's the best move for all of us necessarily. I think it's a fine move. I think it's going to be really tough. That's why I say that. It's going to be super tough to win this. Essence is still divided by region, or as Sorare calls it, flavor. Yes, and that is denoted in season, because Classic is just champ, all-star, under 23. So otherwise, it's contender and challenger for in season, and then the league specific comps will have their own flavour. Can't wait to go streaking. It's going to be my favourite thing to do next year, by the way, is streaking. I'm already thinking, like, I think my Road to Glory style stuff is going to be more about building streak teams out. And we looked at the streaks already. They're right at the top of this page, which is nice and convenient. And although we're getting excited about bringing Sexy back, like, look at that, man. Look at that during the promo. That is just wild. Imagine you've done that. But see, for most of us on a budget, and me especially, like if I'm fucking about with any of these leagues, it's not Celtic based. It will be extremely like lean and mean on a budget. If you can just hit step 1 and 2 consistently on the regular, that's going to be fun enough, you know, and that'll be achievable enough with your NECs, with your Willem 2s or whatever, you know, which again is another element we never really factored into this conversation earlier on when we were chatting about the prize pools and stuff like that, or the viability of Eredivisie cards and whatever, because they have access to this also. So if you want to get Sparta Rotterdam, Mechelen, St. Truden, whoever, if you can just hit, you know, and it doesn't need to be the full stack, obviously, because these teams don't always full stack have these numbers in them. You might need to dice it up with, oh, I got one guy from Antwerp, or I got one guy from Ajax, or whatever. Nice, love that. Rico Man locked and loaded already. Yeah, we'll all be about building wallets now, won't it? And we got the announcement, and this is lovely as well. This is something we have been longing for. I think this was mainly Nanzo that was the first person I remember really highlighting this as a real on platform problem. Is we should have always known this. Part of the reason we've not always known this is because they've like added new licenses on over the years as they go, and maybe some other stuff contractually is in renegotiation stages, so deadlines are unclear or whatever. I get that, but this is lovely. So you know, like when you can go for it. July 31st is when the Premier League comes out, and that is in line with those loyalty boxes opening, which is something we theorized on earlier today and last week as well. I'm pretty sure one of you guys in the chat fed me that little nugget. Yeah, I like that too, Agent. Well, no goalkeepers in Star. I think there's space in the Star category, especially now that 3 goals conceded is gone. I think there's space in the Star category for, I'm just going to say, the top 10 goalkeepers on the platform, you know. So like if you're thinking Prem, you're like, and again, I know this isn't going to be totally accurate on last season and whatever, right? But like Allison and Ederson are the only two that really spring to mind. Like you wouldn't want Raya, you wouldn't want Robert Sanchez, you wouldn't want Vicario. You know, those guys are not stars. But Allison and Ederson, guys that are at the guys that should win titles with their team, that are part of a good defensive stack. Maybe they're an international keeper. I don't mind that profile of a goalkeeper getting into the really top tiers. But the problem is, like, the problem I've had over the years is you win, like, so I was thinking about McBride Safanov there, but that wasn't a star. Obviously, that was like a tier 1 or something. But it's that type of thing where you get like Flecken as a star or some shit like that, and it's just such a bummer, you know. Pip Boom that will be really hard to answer until we see the price of cards. But I do think if you're on a budget, if we look at the limited side of things, if you have a small budget, just hitting step 1, step 2 isn't that far away from step 1, right? Again, same principle applies. If you can get into maybe not $10, right? Because that will be really tough, I think, on in-season cards. I suppose you could buy classic and win in seasons from there. I would say yes, it's probably an easy answer, but there's a bit more nuance to it. Yeah, I'm with you, David Taylor. I said to them, they mentioned the scoring matrix changes to me, and I said to them, removing 3 goals conceded, I don't think that will be met with any backlash at all. I think people will be quite happy with that. I've just personally said to them, I don't mind it being, I'll tell you something cool. I'll tell you 2 things, right? I'll tell you 2 things cool. One is, maybe something I saved, by the way. Maybe, who knows? Maybe other people gave them feedback like this as well, right? But They were telling me about the free goals. They already teased it in the last blog and they mentioned it to me again. And I said, yeah, I get that. I don't think anyone will be upset by it. It'll probably be quite fine. I personally don't mind a goalkeeper getting hammered if they get hammered. And I suggested what I said to you guys on the show a bunch of times. Maybe you just change it to 4 goals or 5 goals conceded. You just move it because, like, I get how they came up with it in the first place, but sincerely, over the last 3 or 4 years, football goals scored has just went through the roof, man. So 3 goals conceded isn't that uncommon compared to maybe 6 years ago, I would say. Maybe even 4 isn't either, by the way. But so I said I wouldn't even mind. I don't even think it would be a bad move to even just move it. And I also suggested giving goalkeepers double doubles, triple triples to bounce off it. They stuck with what they've done. It's fine. It's no big shakes at all. But another thing that they did say to me on the scoring matrix was that they were thinking about. I don't know if it would have been in this announcement or not. I'm not sure if I should be saying this. But they were thinking about maybe removing last man tackle because of the problems. And I said to them, listen, the only problem I've got with last man tackle is, I know from the Telegram group, we've got a bit of a running joke in the Telegram group for, is that a last man tackle or was that a last man block or a last man interception? The problem with it is more the ones that don't get given rather than the ones that do get given. And the guys that tend to catch it are random defenders that don't score goals and make assists. So I said to them, I would not like to see that removed personally. I think that would be, I don't think that would go down. I'm not sure it would have went down bad particularly, but I think it kills a few players in the game. And I mean a few, like the defenders, like the guys that don't score goals or make assists, but could make that last man tackle, that goal line clearance sort of thing. Like I always just think about Burke Risa in this kind of mode or this sort of frame of mind because he's not a great player. I'm not like pure, I said that just for this Burke Risa situation, but I think he's a good example of, like, if this guy didn't have last man tackle, when is he ever going to get a decisive? And if this guy never gets a decisive, like there's one outlier there, right? Fair enough. But if this guy never gets a decisive, why have him? And yet there's some outliers. This is back in Scandinavia, I think, isn't it? Yeah. So, not that it was for the Burke Risa particularly or whatever, but there's plenty of guys like that, Ustari gets a last man tackle for grab the ball. And yeah, well, maybe that needs looked at a little bit. EFL Championship will be in contender for any classic, for any in-season cards that become available. I don't think there'll be any Championship clubs licensed this year. Like whoever get relegated from the Prem or anyone they've had previously, I think it's going to be Prem only when it comes to English licenses. But if guys get loaned out from West Ham to Preston or whatever and they're in season, they will go into contender with Bundesliga 2, League 2, Argentina, JK, Croatia. Off the line, double decisive. I think so. That would be interesting. I think it'd be a wee bit OP. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with, I think, most of this stuff that's here. There was, the formation. That was the one thing I was a bit like, I don't like that. Because one thing I was quite excited about when it comes to SO7 for Classic, let's change my little search bar thing here to SO7. There we go. Like, there's no strategy in this. I was really excited to imagining some of you guys out there. Like, I would have really liked it if it was 1 to each position minimum, and then the remaining 3 spots were extra. That's what I would like. Imagine some of you guys out there with your River Plate guys going triple defense, and some guys out there with Barca going triple attack, and guys in the middle, triple midfield. You don't get the strikers, you've not got any big defense. I would have. It might have been like too complicated for the machine, but I seen this and I thought that's a bit meh. 2 def, 2 mid, 1 forward, 1 plus. Like I would have liked it to have been guaranteed 1 per each because that would just really open up competition variety, manager identity, if you want to use that as a phrase. And yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. Last man tackle is also a fun thing for my. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's just a random thing that can really make a difference, and it's valuable, I think, Um, what are your expectations for prices of PSG or Celtic cards? I don't think Celtic will be that different. Celtic last season, if you remember last year when early access came out, it was Celtic and SPFL that got early access first, and those prices were ridiculous. So I do not see that repeating again. I think they'll still be really expensive for like just in season day one stuff. But I think there was a fair amount of cards in Celtic and Challenger or Contender, or whatever that we're calling it, that were way more expensive than like an Arsenal stack and stuff like that. So I don't think they'll be much cheaper, but I don't think they can be any more expensive than what they were last year. Honestly, though, Quinny, off the line, how many points from the VAR, etc.? 10 points off the line for any player. I don't know what that means. A defender's clean sheet score for it, maybe. Oh, you've lost me, mate. I think they wanted to avoid the 4x position. Yeah, it would be. No, it'd be three. Goalkeeper, def, mid, forward is your four, and then you get three extra spots. So it would be. Oh, yeah, three extra on top of. Yeah, so you'd have a back four. Sorry. I thought about playing triple defense, triple mid. That was the kind of thing I wanted triples. That's what I wanted. I've said that poorly. Thanks for catching me, Rico, man. I wanted triple formation. I wanted triple defense, triple forward, triple mid. I wanted that. Can still do triple defense and mid, I suppose. You just can't do it up front, which is, whatever. Special events. Oh, there we go. This is what we're chatting about earlier. I've maybe conflated these pieces together and came out with it the wrong way when I read it first time around. Yeah, fair enough. They don't think they get a boost because of the streaks. I think so. I think the streaks are great, but Celtic cards, like I said, if you go back to day one last year, Celtic cards were the most expensive thing on the game. Like, really, they were. There wasn't much that the prices on those early access cards last year was wild. And I just don't see, I don't know how it could go above that. It might, but I think what this will do is it will stop how much of a decrease they should have got this season on just market hype kind of thing, or anticipation. 7 goalkeepers, that'd have been hilarious. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I don't think there'll be much more compared to last season. PSG will be mad, but yeah, because they've got that whole league to themselves. The streaking will be mad. I like Malambo a lot. I was actually going to be recording a wee video on him maybe tomorrow. Just make it a scoring matrix thing for clearance off the line. Nah, I like these decisives for defenders. It gives them viability, I think. But that's just me anyway. But I like Malambo. I think he'll do very well in the Prem. I think Malambo will be one of these guys that's at Brentford for one season and then moves on. Yeah. I am excited for the new crafting system. I am. I think it'll be really good. I think it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to. So, what did they told us when the crafting starts, right? And this is when I got excited. So where is it? Removal of essence limit, essence flavor. Yeah, cards available for crafting. This is what it was. So as of the August the 22nd is when the crafting machine will be full. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, oh great, August 1st, let's go and get our Celtic cards out of the crafter, or let's go and get our Eredivisie or whatever. My essence is all over the shop, personally. I'm going to wait all the way to here, and then I'm going to craft daft, 22nd, let me check what day of the week that is. Might even just book it now. 22nd of August is a Friday. So we'll have a midweek payout. Maybe Tuesday the 26th of August, maybe. See how the game week goes, but I'm keeping all my essence until that date when everything's in the pool. then I'm going for it. Yeah, I think you're right, Jerem. I think you're right. Too messy. Yeah, it's a good point. I think like the high quality players are always going to be sought after. The collection pieces, especially in Classic, like don't really have any real reason to be moving now. Let's see how the sealing stuff works. We got some details on that. You can only unseal one card every 2 weeks. So it's a very laborious thing. So you need to be careful with who you're sealing away and whatever. Yeah, that's kind of the sentiment I'm driving on, Agent Cooper. The 500 is to reveal all cards. Ooh. So you can spend an extra 500 and I don't know. Where does it say that? Where does it say that, Rico? Unsealing, seal bonuses, removal of essence limit. I like the buyback thing as well, but that's just kind of like burning, isn't it? It's like scrapping. So if you spend 1,000 essence, you're going to get like 700 back probably or something like that. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So yeah, that review. Yeah, I didn't think there was any confusion over that. Sorry, I kind of misunderstood your point there, Rico man. But I think yeah, I think I thought it was kind of stated or obvious that when you spend this essence, the consumable that we've heard mentioned, it reveals everyone's league or nationality or whatever we're looking to unveil here. Not just one card that you select. Reveals everyone's. The standard draw, we had the thing for it up here already. Let me go and get it again. So the standard draw, you've got 10% chance of a star. 100% chance of tier 5 is in the mix. So you're going to get 10 cards. And in those 10 cards, there's a 10% chance. Each of the 10 cards. Yeah, so there's a 1% chance that it's a tier 1 in your draw of 10. 2% chance as a tier 2. And I'm sure there'll be combinations of these. I'm not, there might be, you might have a 2, you might get really lucky and there might be 2 random tier 0s in there on probability. And the rest are tier 5 maybe just to balance it out or something. And again, this just clears up the pool palaver because, again, when you save up, I've seen it this season a few times, you save up to 500 essence, you pull your tier 1 and it's a crapper. It's like, oh, I've saved up all that essence for all that. So it kind of removes that friction. Yeah, it's going to be hard to do, Pierre. I'm definitely with you there because I might be tempted to go fuck it. Let's just give me as much Celtic as I can get. But again, essence flavor still like counts for something, as they told us. Let me fix the magnification here, sorry, so we can click on essence. But I know for my essence, and it's going to only just get more muddy. Mine's is split all over the place. Like I don't want to do this as soon as the factory opens, and the percentage of MLS is only going to increase until Europe comes back. So I don't want to get, oh, let's go and pull some Celtic cards and then we get MLS. I don't want that. So I want to stack more essence up so that it further dilutes against MLS. I'll probably pull an MLS card at some point, right? But I want to try and get as much out of the European pools as I can at that point rather than the other way around, as it were. Is playing Classic to get in season cards the way to go again? Yes, it is, Josh. That's definitely the way to go. And I think that's the main thing to, to be thinking about when we've been in the off season with any business we've been doing is just make sure you get Classic guys that will help you hit hard. We then found out about SO7 and blah other stuff, but which makes it even more obvious. But it's one of those ones where, yeah, like you can buy in season cards, you can craft them obviously, but winning them and getting the essence out of Classic is the way to go for anyone who's played the game for more than one season. Really needs a club reveal. I don't know if that's too. Yeah, it would need to be expensive, Charlie. Because if you can find out I think we get league reveal, don't we? Yeah, we get league. So if you got league and nationality, for somebody like Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, if you get Georgian and in the French league, like you're kind of onto a watch there, aren't you? But if you get like French and Ligue 1, it could be anyone, or Spanish in La Liga. I get that. Yeah, there's maybe room in here for an extra juicy one on the club. Yeah, if you added Charlie's suggestion or even if no, sorry, yeah, you're thinking about 1,000 to craft plus the 500 for league and 500 for flag, so 2,000 to make a somewhat educated guess. Yeah, you're maybe right there, Sean. Actually, that's an interesting point. Sean's talking about holding out for that extra essence to make sure you have some control over your decision making. Oh, of course. Yeah, just reveal the league. Of course. Oh, by the way, Rico, man, you're going to tempt me into it. You're going to tempt me into it, boy. We don't have anything confirmed beyond the 2 permanent arenas, which we had on screen earlier. So let me do Control F again. Yeah, so we've got these 2 permanent arenas here, starting from July 25. You just know that the face down star card is the new crafting system. Will be whichever goalkeepers rocketed up in price that week. Could be. Or position reveal could be interesting. Yeah. I don't mind. I think there's room for them to just add that all in and make it cost more and more and more. Sid FIFA, with your name being Sid FIFA, you've lived that, haven't you? You've lived that. Of course. There's always the troll potential of Davachvili. Hot streaks are league specific, mate. So you could be after 9 streaks across the 4 big champion leagues, the 2 regions, MLS, Eredivisie Belgium. 9 streaks are available. That'd be fun. That would be fun. But the point is, do you really think revealing is worth it for none? You'll get Spain La Liga and it could be random player or Yamal. Yeah, that's kind of the game you're playing, isn't it? It's a tough one. I don't think it's perfect, but I do quite like it. Ceiling is on screen here. There's not a massive thing about it, but they do talk about how legends and coach cards can be used for it, and you get a bonus on your reward, but not streaks, missions, and arena stuff. Only the core comps in season, the main ones we just mentioned there, and the 3 primary classics: All Star Champion, Under 23. For example, a manager at ceiling level 10, and we get a little kind of vibe here for it. I don't know what makes Matoma in this example worth 525 points. I don't know how they work that out. This is the other thing that I said to them, right? So they asked me about last man tackle. That was the main bit of feedback I gave them that has maybe been implemented on this. But I've been begging them. You guys have heard me saying about it on the channel quite a lot, but I've been begging them to name this manager of the month and give people a manager of the month award. I think they might try and do both. They'll just keep calling it the championship, but you'll get like a manager of the month style award or something. Yeah. 50-50 chip would be fun. Yeah, it would be. They could do lots of stuff around it. I actually think it's quite good. There's a lot of innovation to be had. Like Egyptian player Premier League is amazing, but even Norway Prem is quite useless. All it does is tell you what cards. Yeah, fair enough. Like Norway Prem, yeah, there's about 12 guys there, isn't there? Could be Haaland or it could be Norgard or whatever. Just started playing Sorare. Thanks for joining us, H Sturdy. Is it worth buying players for current competitions or waiting and build a team for the new season? If you have nothing right now, regardless of what you're going to play, you are allowed to play one classic player in any in-season lineup if you want to wait for the new versions of the cards, but you will be allowed to play one old version in every or any competition you would like to play. H Sturdy. So if there's like a super premium card that you would like, but you maybe know that you is beyond your means, perhaps. Like if we just use this as an example, Mbappe in season, he's probably going to be more than this, right, at the beginning of the new season. But let's just imagine he's 500 quid, and you think, oh, I'd love to get an Mbappe. Oh, the credits are a bit more optional now. That's interesting. It's a nice wee development there. But you think, oh, I can't afford 500 quid on an Mbappe. Maybe a 300 quid Mbappe is more your style. It's still Mbappe. Just means everyone else in your team has to be a new season version of them. So for stars, there's not really a bad. It's not really buying one now is not really or in a week or whatever. It's not an issue. You can do that and it'll be fine. You can work out what you want to do in due course. Same with goalkeepers because goalkeepers generally cost a few quid. And Don Q's got you covered as well in the chat there. Can't wait to have 2 Norwegian Prem players I can pick from and get Sander Berg. And yeah, essence pools will be one. It'll be based on the essence that you're pulling from. Yes. And then Agent Cooper, I'm with you there. Yeah, I think you're right, Josh. Maybe the whole tier vaulting thing will be or the ceiling thing and what tier a player is might be a bit of a contentious issue in time, but I don't think it'll be a big one. I've kind of ran out of breath, guys. Got to tell we pause for the cause. I'm meant to be overdoing Celtic stuff in a minute. Is there anything else we've not wrestled with here? You guys have kind of ran the show today. It's been actually rather refreshing for me. I normally like to have a wee agenda and we'll talk about this and we'll talk about that, but we've kind of got to everything, I think, in a roundabout way. Yeah. The monthlies will be good as well, by the way, because we're talking about streaks, giving extra bang for buck on whatever you're doing in season. But whatever you're doing, the monthly comes on top of that as well. And the monthly thing, you can imagine they put a bit of weight, a bit of power into that. They're going to put all their VIP access stuff like tickets and signed shirts, is the way it's been kind of intimated already. Or not all of them, but a fair whack of them into that. And yeah, I think it's just going to be really good. I think there's a real potential here for one lineup to rip, you know what I mean, and catch a few different wins in different ways from the one result. And I think that's a good development. I kind of like everything that's here as well. Yeah. Totally. So as much as we're talking about Eredivisie being great bang for buck, Contender is not going to be too dissimilar because Contender is this a prize pools page? I think it is, isn't it? Because Contender. No, this isn't. This will be the prize pools page. Sorry. Contender is going to get the most shade thrown on it, and these cards will be cheap compared to everyone else. They will be the cheapest. The J, the K, the Croatian League. Anyone else that transfers, like we mentioned, to the Championship out of the Prem or whatever. This will be sneakily open. I think if you're quite a shrewd Sorare manager, you can get a cheeky wee stack on your side early because you could get D1 capable, you could get streaking, and you could find some lovely differentials throughout the transfer market or other kind of circumstances that come along the way. Yeah, J League players really, really cheap. Monthly is a separate no, it's not. I think monthly is unless it's detailed. Let's have a peek at this again. Sorry, Control F. Championship. There's As a reminder, monthly competitions are coming to game week 26, built to reward managers who shine over time, not just in a single game week. So I don't think you enter this. I think it's the same as hot streaks. You're just in it, you know. With cumulative leaderboards, special rules, and unforgettable prizes, the championship gives you cards from any season, even more utility. The first edition kicks off in September. We'll reveal the full rules and rewards before it kicks off. I would be very surprised if this was a competition as such. I don't think it's been held out in any of the comms as being its own competition, and more just do you remember what it was like with the last monthly? I suppose the last monthly was like enter this and there's no reward pool until the end of the month. It could be that again. Sid FIFA, no. The hot streak is on top. That's just a side thing. So you play Premier League, you play Bundesliga, La Liga, Liga, and any of the regions, Eredivisie, Belgium. You do your thing, and your team could be in Division 3, Division 2, Division 1. You could finish last, you could finish first. It doesn't matter. As long as you have a team, this is just running parallel alongside what you're doing anyway. So you're winning from the leaderboard if you hit one of these scores, probably. Even if you don't, you're kind of saved because this will pay out anyway. Guaranteed points pay out for a score. But no, hot streak, you don't need to opt in. You don't need to submit a different lineup. It's just the hot streak for Eredivisie is available to you because you played Eredivisie this week, kind of thing. I agree. SO7, it makes it a bit more interesting. So essentially just one of the 3 teams, exactly. Yep. So you'll get 4 teams in, or you only need one of them hit it. If all 4 of them hit it, cool. But you're only going to get paid at once, if you get me. They mentioned it in no, but yeah, I think I know what you're referring to, Rico man, and I think that's just an extra layer of like what hot streaks is given. I think they're trying to detail that like your classic cards. I think the championship thing is just going to be a monthly leaderboard for the All-Star comp. That's what my personal opinion is. And if you're in All-Star Classic, it's kind of where everyone's going to be anyway for the most part, except if you get Champion Classics for under 23. So my initial hunch was it was just going to be the All-Star thing over a month. Yeah. We're talking about the championship, Rico, man. We're talking about the same thing. I just ended up talking with Sid as well, and both these things have kind of bumped off each other. So I think it will be like, fair enough. All-Star Classic, there's no streaks there, but that will be not the streak equivalent because it won't be as juicy as this, but it's kind of parallel. It's classic parallel. Or at the end of the month, you've been kicking ass and taking names. Here's a shirt. Here's some tickets. I don't think it'll be an opt-in. I don't think it'll be a separate entry, new players. Fair enough. Yeah, it's all up to interpretation until we get details, isn't it? That's just what I thought. Maybe what you guys think is what's the way it's going to be as well. Who knows? But yeah, awesome, guys. I've had great fun. And yeah, this is a good announcement. I'm glad it went well today. I'm glad they got all the details out that we were after. I think everything in here is pretty much a slam dunk. More money, easier to get, more competitions. I say easier to get because of the promo thing that's here. Like the initial period, there's some cashback potential for any of the guys picking up in-season cards or whatever. You're right, Rico, man. The last one was a separate entry. You're totally spot on with that. Can you use current 25 season players? Yes, you can, Harry Fletcher. So if you're the contender region has in-season cards available now. The J League, the K League, the Argentinian League. Mexico? Is Mexico get in-season? Brazil doesn't have any in-season unless someone's transferred or whatever. But yeah, so that's what somebody said earlier. I forget who it was. But like with this, especially, if you've already got J, K, and all these guys sitting high XP collection bonus, you've been running with them this year, you get access to this as well, So yeah, I think everyone wins. Well, not everyone wins, you know what I mean? But it's a good one. We're happy with it. pleasure, guys. And yeah, hail, hail. I'll see you on the next one, guys. I'll be doing there'll be tons of stuff coming out. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Let me know if you've been watching this after the live, comment section for thoughts and feedback. We'll probably do a member stream in the next day or two, maybe over the weekend. And yeah, we'll have tons of videos. Strategy. Oh, Jesus, yeah. I'll probably need to draft out a bunch of strategy videos over the weekend, and we'll start to have them kind of start to come out next week. So, suggestions, ideas, thoughts and feelings, anything you want to throw at me, feel free. Always happy to take it all on board. Oh, do you know what? I did think this was possible. There we go, guys. We're going to finish off with a wee card reveal. I won a tier 5 under 23. So we're talking about the pools here, aren't we? We've got some guys promoted. That's fun. We get some level ups. Elenich and Dong living their best life here. We need to take the mag out one. But yeah, we got a tier 5 and a wee bit of essence. And let's see. Under 23. Let's hope it's a good wonder kid. Tier 5. He's a goalkeeper. Oh, that's going to be buff, isn't it? Japanese. It's just my S-post. At least he's a rookie. 17-year-old rookie. As far as a tier 5 goes, it's probably not as bad as it could have been, but as soon as you see Japanese goalkeeper, you just know where it's going to go in that tier 5 under 23 spot, don't you? It's going to go to a guy like this. But from his picture, he looks like a tall lad. And if he's a tall lad, that could be all right. So yeah, awesome, guys. Oh, more game weeks are open now as well. But yeah, thanks to you all. I'll be on Satara here in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And yeah, I'll catch you soon, guys. Lots of content coming out. Thanks for all the support. Like, subscribe, share, retweet. Let's go, guys.